Hello and welcome back to the Farways Devlogs. I am Garen Raver and today I'm joined by the other Dev, Eli.
Hello.
And today we thought, as we are going to be doing the class showcases in the near future, I thought rather than going straight into that and jumping into like the soldier who affects combat, let's show you what combat actually looks like. So in this video we'll be doing a little combat test showing off how the guns work and how the different categories of guns work and all of that stuff to show you how combat plays in the Far Wastes. So before we go on to a proper mock battle, let's just very quickly go through how weapons and how combat basically works. So Eli will be controlling Handgun Henry. Weapons in the Far Wastes have a stat line or a profile, we're not entirely sure what to call it, but it provides you all the information you need to use the weapon properly. And there may seem like there's a lot in it. There is the adept status, there is the number of hands, there is the stat, the range, the recoil, the shots per attack and per mag, the reload time, and there's also the damage it deals and what type of damage. And that does sound like a lot, but it breaks down to be very simple. Adept status is how skilled with this class of weapons you need to be to use this weapon correctly. By default, when making an attack, you roll a d20. Whether this gets any pluses or minuses is determined entirely by whether you are adept with the weapon you're using. It is either amateur or professional, and the difference this makes is very simple. If you have the adept status, then you add any positive bonus you have to the stat that uses it, the stat says below, and you ignore any negatives for that stat. If you are not adept with it, then you use any negatives and ignore any positives. For example, if Handgun Henry was to instead use a 44 revolver, which is a professional weapon, he would not be adept with that. He's only adept to the amateur level. He would not add his observation of 2 to the attack roll. He still managed to hit the training dummy, which has an evasion of 10. When actually attempting to hit a target, you have to roll against their evasion and shields. In this case, the training dummy doesn't have any shields, but it has an evasion of 10. Evasion is the culmination of like size and speed and cover to calculate how easy they are to hit at all. And then after that they've got armor, which can reduce the attack, but we'll come to that in a moment. First of all, the revolver shot, despite not being adept with the weapon, Handgun Henry has managed to hit the dummy and do 8 puncture damage. Unlucky, Handgun Henry.
I am rolling for it.
Each weapon has a maximum number of shots per attack and a maximum number of shots per mag. This means that you can, in a single attack, which costs 10 meters of movement, again we'll come on to that in just a moment, you can make multiple shots. However, there is a downside to firing off multiple shots in such a short time. You suffer recoil. Henry's 9mm can fire up to 2 shots per attack. Subsequent shots suffer a cumulative recoil, so the 9mm has a recoil of 1, meaning the second shot in a single attack has a -1 to hit, whereas a hypothetical third attack would have -2. In this case, the first attack did hit, but the second one missed even without the recoil, so you roll damage for the one that did hit. And that's another 6 puncture damage. Of course, it's a training dummy, it's built to resist this stuff, so it's irrelevant. Henry will never win this fight. Let's go on to a proper fight that he might stand a chance in. Welcome to the mock battle. Please excuse the map. This is a leftover map from when I DM'd a campaign of D&D. And we have Henry joined by Randolph Rifle and Sven the Sprayer, fighting against Sally Shotgun, Explosive L, and Sub Sam. Each one is using a different category of weapon that is available in the Far Wastes. We'll be taking turns. Eli will be controlling Team 2 on the right, and I'll be controlling Team Left on the left. And we will go through this battle and show you how a battle looks. For this battle, nobody has any classes, nobody has any additional features, it is just the guns, just the combat. Everybody's stats are equal with 0 across the board, apart from the one they use for their weapon, which is a +2. And that means everybody's movement is the same. It is 20 meters. Each turn, you get a certain movement which is based on your finesse. None of these are using finesse weapons, they all have a finesse of 0. This gives them a total movement per turn of 20 meters. You use this to make attacks, actions, reload your weapon. Each weapon has a different reload, as shown with the 9mm and the revolver. And how to best use your turn is up to you to determine, using the right combination of moves, attacks, reloads, tactical things, etc. First up is Sally Shotgun. She is wielding a break shotgun, an amateur weapon, 2 hands, observation as most guns are. And shotguns are unique in that their range is determined by the ammo they use. We'll cover that in more detail in a future video. For now, we're just using shotgun shells, which have a range of 0 to 16 meters. It has a recoil of 6. That doesn't matter here because she can only do 1 shot per attack and only has 1 in the mag. It then has a reload time of 4 meters.
Sally's going to start her turn by moving into hard cover, taking 10 meters or half her movement for this turn. And then I'm going to use the other half of the movement to shoot handgun Henry with her shotgun.
Every attack, no matter what weapon you're using, takes 10 meters of movement. And we sort of calculated it so that each weapon has the number of shots and deals the amount of damage that it would logically do in that time. Henry has an evasion of 10 plus 4 for the hard cover, giving him a total of 14. However, Sally's roll of 14 to hit does hit, because if it meets it, it beats it. Sally deals a total of 7 damage, but Henry is wearing armor. All of them have a blue bar showing their armor above their health bar, and Henry's armor gives a protection of 6. This reduces the incoming damage by the amount of the armor, so he only takes 1 health damage. Next up is Henry's turn, and he is within range for the 16 meter range of his handgun, so he is going to shoot back against Sally. And the advantage is his handgun can shoot 2 shots in a single attack. Correct those off, and the first one is a miserable failure, and the second one likewise misses. Of his 20 meters of movement, he still has 10, which is enough for a second attack, so he will take another 2 shots, and the recoil resets with the new attack. The first shot of those again missed, but the second one, despite the -1 for the recoil, is still enough to get past the 14 total evasion that Sally has, dealing 6 puncture damage. 6 damage, however, is not enough to get past Sally's 15 armor. So does this mean that Henry just can't damage her? No, it does not, because if an attack is ever reduced to 0 by armor, it instead rends the armor. This represents the bullets chipping away at the protection. This reduces Sally's protection by 1, so for the remainder of the fight, or until she repairs it, more on that in another video, her protection is now 14. And that is it for Henry. Over to Explosive L. L is not equipped with a gun, instead she has 4 frag grenades. Explosives are a very different kind of weapon compared to guns, for example, as you do not roll to hit. Instead, you throw a grenade, or you can get stuff like grenade launchers, which increase your range, and you roll to hit where you're throwing it. You don't have to aim at a person, but you roll as normal to determine how close to where you aim it lands.
For Explosive L's turn, there's really no chance of her hitting anything this turn, so I'm just going to move her up. I'm going to have her sort of do this little movement up to the cover where Sally was at the start of her turn. And that is all Explosive L can really do this turn, so she'll still have a little bit of cover, but that's about it.
Randolph Rifle. He is equipped with a 243 sniper rifle. Now this one is probably actually a bit strong. I've gone for like entry-level beginner weapons for most of them, but I wanted to show off a sniper, so this one might be a bit too powerful for this combat test. But that's fine. The sniper rifle is, again, amateur, 2 hands, observation. It has a range of 6 meters to 116, which means it has a minimum range. It just is too long and unwieldy to hit anything within 6 meters. It has a recoil of 2 shots per attack and 2 per mag, and a reload time of 4 meters. And as it stands, he cannot see Sally or L, because they're both blocked by cover. However, Sub-Sam, he can see, and in this case, there are 2 loads of soft cover between him and Sam, giving Sam the equivalent of hard cover. And that's still a bit uncertain, we haven't fully tested the cover mechanics, but that is currently what we're working with. Let us know your thoughts on that. So he will take 2 shots at Sub-Sam with 2 recoil. Sam again has an evasion of 10 plus 4 for the hard cover equivalent, which means the first shot does hit, but the second one does not, because the second one has the -2 for the recoil. And Sam takes 15 damage,
Reduced by 10 because of the armor.
resulting in a total of -5 health.
Woo!
And he cannot take another shot because he does need to reload, so he will spend 4 meters reloading, leaving him with 6 meters, which he will do nothing with. Over to Sub Sam. He's carrying a 9mm SMG, amateur, 2 hands, obs, a range of 4 meters to 50, a recoil of 2 because all SMGs have at least 2 recoil, 3 shots per attack, and 9 per mag, with a reload of 8 meters.
For his turn, since Sven the Sprayer is in range by default, I'm just going to have him fire off 3 shots for his first attack against Sven the Sprayer.
Unlucky rolls.
Not that any of them are going to hit. And then for his second attack, he doesn't need to reload yet, so I'll just have him fire again, hoping for slightly better luck. We got there in the end. -4 recoil, 16 to hit for that last one.
And that is still enough to beat the 10 plus 4 evasion that Sven has, so roll damage on that last hit.
Got 6 puncture.
Not enough to breach the armor, but enough to rend it by 1. To better facilitate online play of this recoil mechanic, I'm planning that if or when we get round to having a Roll20 style sheet specifically designed for the far waist, I want it to automatically calculate recoil when you roll multiple shots at once. I'm hoping that'll be sort of all integrated into the system just to make it a bit easier on people. And round to Sven. He is carrying a flamethrower, which, like the grenades that L has, is a very different kind of weapon. You'll notice that its range is 24 meters cone or 50 meters line. This is because it can either shoot a long spray or it can shoot a shorter cone, like coating an area with fire. Sprayers use tech as the stat, and this not so much affects the roll to hit as it does the roll for damage, because the way sprayers work is they ignore evasion of anything within their spray. They are designed to get through cover. So Sven will move up 2, 3, 4, 5 to there, and that leaves him enough to make an attack. He then has a choice of if he wants to do a cone or a line. If it was the line, it is a 2 meter wide line up to 50 meters. So he could shoot up at L, or he could shoot down at Sam. But in this case, he's actually going to do a cone, in which case it is a 30-degree cone up to 24 meters. So he will spray at Sam. It does roll to hit in the same way, so it can overcome shields, but it will ignore evasion. So Sam's evasion is irrelevant, he has no shields, so it just rolls 11 heat damage. And compared to bullets, Sam isn't wearing armor that protects against heat, so he just takes that damage without reducing it.
That leaves him at 14 health.
There are armors that do specialize against it. You can get adjustments to armor. I'll cover armor in more detail in a future video. This is more to give you an idea of how combat works. And that is the end of Sven's turn. He doesn't have enough movement to get back into cover. And that is a complete turn. In the far waste, a turn of combat lasts 10 seconds.
Starting back up with Sally, there's no real reason for her to move, so she's just going to reload, which is going to take 4 meters of her movement. And then with 10 meters, she's going to attack Handgun Henry again, rolling to hit. She does not. Before the end of her turn, she'll reload, and then her turn will be over.
Henry will shoot back 2 shots. Pop, pop. Neither hits. He now only has 1 shot left in his gun. He can take the shot now, but instead he is going to reload.
For Explosive L's turn, she still can't quite hit him with a grenade from anywhere that she... So I'm going to have her flank by coming up this way to about where Sally's pillar is. And that will be all she does this turn.
Because turns in the far waste can be quite quick, just popping off shots and moving, it becomes a lot more tactical about placement and how to best make use of cover and range to get the best position and the most out of your relatively small amount of movement, especially early game. Randolph now can see L, and he doesn't like that she's flanking, so he is going to take 2 shots at her. 1 and 2. The second one, L is in hard cover, so the second one does miss. It's reduced to 13 because of the recoil, but the first is a hit. 20 puncture damage. That's quite high, but it is reduced by 7 by her armor.
So that's a total of 13 damage, leaving her with 17 health.
Which is quite a nasty hit, but again, this might be too powerful a gun for this early in the game. He will then reload and end his turn.
Sub-Sam did not appreciate taking a flamethrower last turn, so he's going to fire back with all 3 of his shots.
Very good rolls. And Sven isn't even in cover, so he just has an evasion of 10. All 3 of those hits roll damage. And all 3 rend.
Plinking away at that armor, little by little. And then for the second half of his turn, I'm going to use 8 meters to reload, so he has a full magazine next turn.
Looking at how this is going, I think armor rends too slowly.
I think I agree with that.
Like, the idea was stuff like SMGs were perfect for it, so you just rapid fire, but because of the low hit rate and the fact that it's chipping away, like, very little. I mean, to be honest, even 10% at this degree is not much. In the absolute best Sam can do in a single turn is reduce Sven's armor by 6. If he manages to land all 6 hits. Well, any amount of damage, admittedly. Like, the advantage of rending is that you can do it on just a single point of damage. But yeah, that seems low, so we'll have to look into that. Sven will stay where he is. We don't need to remeasure it. We know that Sam is within firing range, so he will get fired at. Dealing 7 more heat damage.
It's going to leave Sam at 7 health.
And that leaves Sven completely out of ammunition. So he will need to reload, and it has a 14-meter reload time. So for now, he will duck into cover and call it a turn.
Shooting at Handgun Henry, Sally fires off both rounds.
She only gets 1
14.
round.
Nope, she has 1 round.
Whoops. Accidentally fired 2, that's okay. The first one is not enough because he's in hard cover.
Not hitting him again, I'm just going to reload, and that'll be the end of her turn.
Henry has 2 more shots at Sally. First one is a hit, dealing 4 puncture, reduced by armor. Again, we're going to look at armor later. And then another 2 shots. First one's a hit. Another rending.
Elle, as mentioned, is going to move to here so that she can flank, and then try and throw a grenade.
Oh, this is considered a full range one, so it doesn't land exactly.
The grenade was meant to hit right in front of Handgun Henry and the square in front of him.
So, as it didn't get anywhere near the 20 you need to land exactly. Yeah, I think 10 meters is too short range for those. I'm going to have to reconsider that, because it makes them unviable weapons. But that's what the combat test is for. Let's just say that didn't land near it, so it landed over here. We're also not dead set on the explosion range of grenades at the moment. It's just a 2-meter range around, like so. But that might be too small. We might need to increase it to a 4. I don't know. We'll look into it to try and make explosives a bit more competitive. Randolph is going to again shoot at Elle, try and put her out of her misery. The first one would be a hit. The second one would not, because of recoil. So 27 damage.
So that does 20 damage, which
is enough to take it down to 0. For players, reaching 0 health means that you then have to roll a soul check to try and resist unconsciousness. We're still working on the soul check, so for now we'll say Elle is dead.
Goodbye, Elle. I'd say you fought valiantly, but honestly, you didn't.
Randolph will then reload and end his turn.
Sam is going to fire all 3 shots at Sven again.
Well, I was going to say I'd recommend moving up so that you've got a flanking position on him a bit. Because at the moment you're shooting directly at him in cover. Yeah, maybe we need to reevaluate how cover works as well, because at the moment, if someone is in cover, then unless you have like almost a direct flanking on them, they're counted as in that cover.
Yeah, maybe diagonals need to like reduce the cover, so it's like 2 for hard cover or something.
I think we need a more dynamic cover system, because otherwise it's a bit cut and dry. Yeah, you should be able to like flank it, and that's why we're emphasizing like the importance of tactical positioning. So you can shoot and you can move to try and get the best shot you can. If you want to just try that quickly, like if you want to move up to here, we'll use those 3 shots you took. And we'll say he only has 2 evasion from it because you're going around it. We'll just give it a go and we'll see how it works.
All right, so then the first 2 shots would hit.
All right.
Ooh.
First one rends. Second one.
The second one actually touches.
Hurts him for 3 damage. Yeah, that's definitely not working as intended.
Only a little.
And then Sven, he will reload and then move around to here.
Sally tries to take vengeance and perhaps finally hit Handgun Henry.
Sally is not having a good day.
Does.
Henry will shoot back. Second one's a hit. 2 puncture, just rending. I think we will call it there. Evidently, the armor and the cover systems are not working as they want. I still like the way the armor works in general, with the rending and the damage reduction. But I hope this has given you an idea of how combat will work. The emphasis on quick rattling off shots and moving to positions, and we'll look at cover and make it a bit more dynamic so that tactical positioning is a much more important part than just take cover, you're safe.
I was just going to say, and the grenade.
Yeah, we need to fix the grenade range and maybe explosion radius. I mean, we didn't even get to see one damage anyone, which is a shame. But yeah, there are some... This has raised some tweaks we need to make for balance and for fun. And overall, because this was the first proper combat test. Like, we did a very brief one before, but this is the first real test of combat. Thanks for watching. Let us know your thoughts on anything we've shown off here. I will either do another combat test if I can think of tweaks, but more likely we'll go on to doing the classes next. Let us know if you have any ideas for how we can tweak and improve things, if there's anything you think didn't work well, or if there's anything, it's always nice to hear about things you think did work well. And as always, if you want to come and give us a hand, join the Gary and Reaver Discord linked in the description, because this is being made with the assistance of the people over on there. Make sure you subscribe for more file-waste devlogs, as well as board games, card games, miniatures, and TTRPGs like this. Thank you very much to Eli for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
And we will catch you later.